Welcome back to the latest episode of the Warroom podcast presented by the Sideline Journal. I'm your host, Mason Rather, and joining me today is Liam Carr.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I guess I stand corrected. Last week, if you were with us, I said that this week, week five looked pretty boring. Not a lot of good matchups with all the injuries going on and just the moves, and ended up being a very exciting week. Lots of comebacks, lots of upsets, lots of just fun games, lots of storylines to come out of this. And Mason, we got head coaches, we got the IR, we got so much. What are we talking about?
Man, we've got the IR, we've got an interdivision trade of a 41-year-old Joe Flacco. We've got the MVP race heating up between Baker and Dak. We've got the Jags tied in first place, the AFC South with the
Wild.
Colts. Absolutely insane. And again, what's the greatest thing about games being played in London? On Sunday, we got football from 8:30 a.m. till 11 o'clock at night. It's been an incredible start to the season, and it's only going to keep getting better and better. The War Room's officially open. This is the War Room presented by the Sideline Journal, where the film doesn't lie. Let's get to work. And so on Monday Night Football, we probably had the game of the week between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, we have a pick 'em pool with some of the guys back from NSU, and I was the one of the only ones in that pick 'em pool last Saturday to pick the Jaguars to at home in Duval Country to beat the Chiefs, and looked pretty hairy at times. Trevor Lawrence, it's basically he's a Will Levis archetype. He's going to do something that's like, oh my god, that's so stupid, but then what he tries sometimes actually works. Like we watched a sequence of football where Trevor Lawrence had a delay of games. He was trying to hard count someone. Goes straight from that, delivers an absolute dot on the sideline to Brian Thomas Jr. He then, for the game winning touchdown, trips and slips, hits a full on Jaguar pose, jumps up, looks around, and sprints into the end zone. Turns what should be a Hall of Fame defensive tackle and Chris Jones into looking like a bum because he was just befuddled at what was happening in front of him. And ultimately, it led to him out dueling Patrick Mahomes in prime time. And my deal is a lot of people are going to take away from this game saying that, oh, the Chiefs are they're frauds. Trevor Lawrence has arrived. Trevor Lawrence is worth the $50 million contract. But the angle I want to take away from this is Liam Cohen is establishing himself as a Kevin O'Connell, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan type head coach play caller. He went in to against a Steve Spagnuolo defense with basically handicapping his quarterback because he still doesn't have command of the offense. Brian Thomas still has the yips. He still won't catch something over the middle. But he went out there, he established a run game, he established a presence, he called a great game. He got Anton Harrison, who was their first round offensive tackle from OU last year. He looked like a bust. This year, Troy Aikman's calling it out on the freaking broadcast. He's playing at a top 10 level. The O line looked great. The D line looked great. Devin Lloyd, that pick six. The Jaguars, they might have found something here with the Cohen era and Duval, Liam.
Yes, 100%. I was a little skeptical at first because he was just an offensive coordinator at Tampa Bay. He really like that offense last year was insane, firing on all cylinders. And so coming, I mean, remember this offseason, he goes to Jacksonville. They give him a really good deal. He thinks about taking it, goes back to Tampa Bay, thinks I'll stay. Jaguars give back another offer. Hey, I'm going to Jacksonville. Just a great call by them to go with the red hot coach Liam Cohen. And man, I mean, this team isn't that different. They got rid of Ingram, brought in Travis Hunter, but they still have Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence, the O-line. Not a lot of major changes. Parker Washington for some reason is the guy this year, not Travis or BTJ, which really makes me mad. But then that defense, dude, it's reminiscing of what was it? Was it 2018,
20
2016?
Saxonville. Yep.
Yeah, I mean that Devin Lloyd interception was all him. The bait, blitz backs out. Great call by whoever that was, or if that was just him, that was just exactly what you needed. You knew that Patrick Mahomes was going to go with that slant route right there, just a quick one. That's always there, especially when they're bringing that many people onto the line. And then Josh Allen Hines, I mean, he's just so dominant on the edge. This defense is looking great. They were one of the worst last year, and they're starting out pretty good to go 4-1 in the AFC South, which we thought was going to be a division where the winner of the division would be like 9-8 and almost maybe even 8-9. Um, just yeah, we didn't think it'd be that much. But yeah, this Jags Chiefs game was awesome. I'm gonna say it again what I said last week. If there's new listeners, everybody's always saying this doesn't look like the old Chiefs. These Chiefs, they look a little different than last year. No, they don't. Last year they were barely winning these games, okay? Now, so what we're just seeing right now is all the luck that they had last year is just not going for them. All the luck that they needed. So they're just losing these close games. They're just playing poor offense like they were last year. Mahomes doesn't have a deep ball. They're injured. Travis Kelce's just mega old, and then yeah, Xavier Worthy's just that's just bad luck with his shoulder, and then he got tripped up, and then had an ankle problem, and then Rashee Rice is in. He should be in jail. Yeah, but they've had some young guys step up for the Chiefs. Mason, I think you like that. How do you say it? Thompson, that Tyquan Thompson, and then
Tyquan
they have
Thornton, yeah.
and they have that 24 Smith, who's really fast, blazing fast. He looks like he could be a playmaker. I don't know why he doesn't get the ball more. But yeah, they can't establish a run game because Pacheco is one of the hardest hitting running backs I've ever seen. Him and Scadaboo are like my top two right now. But the thing is, Pacheco is blind. And then Kareem Hunt's, I don't know why they have him back there. I think he's just too old. He's not like what he was, so their run game can't get established. Their O-line is not as good as they used to. Mahomes doesn't have a deep ball. Their weapons to pass to are not as good as always. It's not bad, but it's not as good. And then defense, Mason, Chris Jones on that play, watching 95 just staying there. This guy's supposed to be a Hall of Famer. Where's the effort at least? Where's the effort? The game-winning play. Is it because it's not like December or January? He doesn't want to pop out. I mean, that was just awful by him. I cannot believe what the coaches would be saying to him in either today or tomorrow when they're watching film. That was just awful effort. Yeah, but the Jags just played a great game. Liam Cohen seems like he's putting it together. And then, yeah, let's get Brian Thomas Jr. the ball, please.
Feed Brian Thomas Jr. He's a prime freaking Julio Jones, prime AJ Green type build, 6'4", big receiver that can run. He needs to be fed. But talking about the Chiefs, I mean, they've got some under the surface issues that they found a way to band-aid and patch and get over that are really becoming their Achilles heel this season. On offense, Andy Reid is famous for always running a gap counter power scheme, meaning that all of their blocking schemes and being instead of zone schemes, they're man schemes. Well, in man schemes, you have to have a running back that has incredible patience and incredible vision. Kareem Hunt used to have that. Father Time started to catch up to him where his
It happened.
feet and his patience are a lot slower. Pacheco has never had that. Pacheco has always just been a bowling ball bruiser in the middle, and he used to have that little bit of juice in his speed and contact balance to get through the first level to make something shake out at the second level. I really like that seventh round pick, number 24 Smith, they have playing. He has
Yeah,
by far the most life. Every time they are having two or three design touches for him a game in the screen game, the short passing game. I mean,
he's a good return too.
what I would love to see them do is actually line Mahomes up under center, hand wide zone off to number 24, and watch what happens. Because that's the problem with their run game. It's always out of gun, it's out of the pistol, and it's a power man scheme. Now, it's worked historically for Andy Reid, and Andy Reid's been so successful for so long because it works. I just think their personnel is a misfit for their scheme. And every time they try to run freaking power to the left, and you got Jawan Taylor gap hinging. Josh Hines just bulldozed and blew that up
Yeah.
last night. But going to the defense, they've got Chris Jones, who's an incredible player. He's an incredible interior edge rusher. They have no pass rush outside of him. George Karlaftis is overpaid, and I think he's very average. He is good in the run game. He has no juice of a pass rush, none whatsoever. He got locked up all night. They have incredible linebackers in Leo Chenal, Drew Tranquil, Nick Bonito, or excuse me, Nick Bolton. You know what none of them can do? Cover. Constantly they're committing PIs without being called, and they try to run cover
Oh
two
yeah.
invert where the
I know what you're
pole
talking about.
runner's going over the middle. And finally last night, hey, guess what? It got called. That first pick Trevor Lawrence threw, there was PI and they didn't call it. But thankfully, when the
Major.
game mattered, they finally called it. And so that's why I always go back to last season. I call it the Chiefs voodoo magic. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if it's because of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I don't know if it's because Patrick Mahomes and State Farm had a deal going with the NFL. But the voodoo magic, I think, is run out. They're getting to the point where everyone's a year older. Everyone has had success in the past, and so they feel like they're entitled to that success. And they're going to have to scrap and claw to win games. I mean, looking at their schedule, it's not going to get any easier. Wins that you said going into the season, like, yeah, the Jags, it's a gimme win. It's not a gimme win. They've lost it. 2-3. They're going to have to fight their way into the playoffs, and I'm never going to count Mahomes out if he makes it to the playoffs. We haven't ever seen him not, when he's in the playoffs, make it to at least the divisional round. Or is it the conference championship game? I think it's the conference championship game since he's been a starting quarterback. And it would be insane for me to say it's this year. But there are some very key critical issues that are bogging down the team that I think limits their ceiling.
Yeah, and I'm gonna cry big tears when like the 9-8 Chiefs beat the like 13 and whatever Bills in the divisional championship. It's gonna make me so sad. Hey, let's put some respect on that Chiefs number 24, Brashard Smith at SMU, seventh round this year. It was the smallest running back in the this year's class. So I just want to throw that out there. We're gonna put some respect. We want to see Brashard Smith getting the ball more. Andy Reid, he's very quick. Um, yeah, but just going back to that game, Chiefs were up 14-0, and what did they start doing? Were they conservative play calling? I know that there was like the pick, which that really just flipped the side before half. Um, my favorite tight end out of the AFC, Brenton Strange, oblique injury on a non-contact, which made me a little scared. I needed him. Um, yeah, but just look at the run game differences, and the stats. Mason, I'm a big stat guy. You're the big film guy. Stats don't always tell the truth, and I
I
thought
mean,
the offensive line for the Jags and Travis Etienne were just dominating pretty much the whole game. So when Trevor Lawrence oftentimes makes mistakes in that pass game, Liam Cohen can really rely on that newborn Travis Etienne and the run game right now. And they also got I don't know how to say his first name, but Tootin. He looks
Bayshaw
pretty good
Tootin,
too.
he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just say with the Chiefs, I mean, again, Mahomes was their leading rusher. You're not going to win football games that way with your quarterback having to be your leading rusher. This isn't John
Yeah, so your name's
Mateer.
not Lamar Jackson.
This isn't John Mateer at OU in college football. This is the NFL. It's very hard to win
Yeah.
football games where your quarterback's your leading rusher and passer. But I mean, kind of transitioning this conversation like the AFC as a whole and the playoff picture. I mean, who would have said that there's a three-way tie for the number one seed going into Week 6 between the Jags, Colts, and Bills for the number one seed in the AFC? We always hear about the AFC's a bloodbath, and you got to get through Mahomes and Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert, and this quarterback and that quarterback. But you look at who's the top of that conference, and then you go over to the NFC, and that's where the real bloodbath's going on. I think that it's pretty interesting that the playoff picture's been completely turned on its head going into Week 6.
Yeah, I mean, this week was just incredible with that. This week made me feel that the NFL is wide open. Mason, I don't know if that's how you felt, but like last week going into it, you're kind of like thinking, uh, Bills, Eagles, Chiefs. You gotta throw their hat in the ring. Lions, and then the AFC. Who else? I mean, to me, going into last week, that was probably it for like, Super Bowl. And then you could throw in the Colts because they're hot right now, and they do have the biggest point differential, which could mean that they're the best team in the league. But yeah, just an absurd.
The Colts have benefited from playing the Raiders and the Panthers, though. It's a little inflated.
And the Dolphins, and then they
And the
lost to the
Dolphins.
Rams.
It's
But
a little
hey, those
inflated.
wins were good wins, and the loss was very close. But that's a good point, Mason. Thank you. But yeah, this week was just, to me, Mason, I want to hear from your side. After this week, it just blew the doors open to where right now the championship, besides the teams that are one win, it seems winnable for anybody. Anybody can win it.
And that's why for me this season's a really exciting season for me. And
Look at the injuries too.
this is the first time this decade that there are no teams undefeated going into week 6.
Yeah, that was
First
quick.
time this decade, very quick. And I mean, you could see it. The Bengals, who should be dead for this season, they go pull off an interdivisional trade for Joe Flacco because they're sitting there saying, if we can just go 500 till Joe Burrow gets back, if we can go 4-4 in the next 8 games, and then we run the table, they'll make the playoffs. Because I mean, you go down the list of 3-2, 2-3 teams. Like we have some real dogs between the Jets, the Titans, the Dolphins, the Giants, the Saints. Like you have some real bad football teams. But then what happens is you don't really have a clear echelon of these are the elite untouchable teams like last season. You've got everybody that can make a case for themselves of, well, we're not so far away from being the 4-1 Jags if 2 games go our way compared to someone else. So I think it's really interesting to see where this thing heats up and goes. I think you can eliminate some people from the race and from the
Yeah,
conversation, but like the New England Patriots, they're now 3-2. They beat the Bills. They're favored in a lot of their games. Have a pretty weak schedule. Drake May looks like he's arrived. It's not crazy to say that they might be the 2 or 3 seed hosting multiple playoff games come January. It's not crazy to say to go overlook the NFC that the freaking 4-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers just might end up being the number 1 seed in the NFC. I mean, that's what I love about this league. It's what you can't get anywhere else, any other professional sports league. On any given Sunday in the NFL, everything that you thought about it can get flipped on its head.
that was the motto of last week was any given Sunday because all those teams we did not expect to win won. And then there was the moments in the game when, the Panthers down 17-0 and then the Titans down 21-3 with a running back that broke a 70-yard touchdown, is running to the end zone and drops the ball and it goes through the end zone for a touchback. Uh, you know, Titans pull off that massive comeback and then the Panthers do. So any given Sunday, guys, these teams trying to stay in it, and then there's the teams just falling apart, like I would say the Jets, and I would say the Cardinals and the Dolphins. Any given Sunday, Mason.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of transitioning that now, you just kind of brought it up, and it's something I know we both wanted to talk about. I mean, what is going on in Arizona? What's going on with the Jets? What's going on with the Browns? What's going on with the Dolphins? I mean, all of these head coaches 0-5, 1-4, the Giants, out of all of those teams, just looking at the hot seat meter, we were calling the shots. Who's getting fired first?
I go first.
Yeah,
I think, I think that the Dolphins let go of Mike McDaniels this week.
this
This week. It
week.
hasn't happened yet, so I'm probably it's not going to happen. If not this week, after they lose to the Chargers next week really badly, they'll let go of him. It has to be Mike McDaniels. Look at his record. Look at his just for me, his from the ownership perspective, his attitude for it. Losing the game, you're up 17-0 against the Panthers. It'd be different if you were up 17-0 against the Commanders and they come back and they'd be like, they're a really good football team. But the Panthers, the Panthers struggling to see if they're a real football team too. I think the most blame goes on Mike McDaniels. I know they just lost Tyreek Hill, and Mason, you're not a big Tua fan, but I just think it's been too long for him in there. I think out of those teams we talked about, he might be the longest tenured. I don't know right off the top of my head, but for me, Mike McDaniel's easy, Mason.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the Dolphins, I mean, he's the only coach on this list that is. I say that there is one other, and it was the one that I was gonna unfortunately go with. But talking about Mike McDaniel, he's one of the only coaches that his best year was his first year, and every year's gone down since. And I've said this about the Dolphins. We said it in April when we started this deal, and we've consistently said it. They're one of the most poorly mismanaged rosters to exist in the NFL. Chris Greer should have been fired 3 seasons ago. But Instead, they got the wrong guy out of the building, Brian Flores, and they kept Chris Greer. They hired Mike McDaniel, and I think Mike McDaniel proved that he could be an OC in this league. This first year here, where he made Tua look like a top 15-ish quarterback behind when he
Yep.
had an average O line, and he made a 31-year-old Raheem Mostert have 21 total touchdowns. And he did it because a 34-year-old Teron Armstead gave one more top five league play at left tackle. I'm not going to boil down everything to the Dolphins, saying it's because of how bad their line is, but Chris Greer should be fired just purely of what he's put out there personnel wise, with knowing what Tua's strengths are and you don't give him an O line. That's just stupid. So you got fast guys that with a quarterback that doesn't have the arm strength to throw to him and you can't protect for it, then you can't build a run game off of it. So how are you going to call an offense? And say what you want to say, Mike McDaniel, he's not a leader of men. That's why I don't think he's going to get another head coaching opportunity for a while. And if the offense isn't working, it turns into the blame game. I really like that pick. But where I'm going to go is someone that I hope saves his job because I really like the pairing that they made. But I'm going to go with Brian Daboll. I think he might be the first head coach fired just because
Tragedy.
he's held on too long. Makes the playoffs in 2022, horrible losing seasons in 23 and 24. They get
Yeah.
rid of the quarterback that he said was causing all the problems. He's looking like an MVP candidate with the Colts. Russell Wilson, besides one game, looks awful. Then he's like, well, we're going to play with my rookie quarterback, and now we're going to win. And Jackson Dart, they go out there and have a good first week. They win the game, but then Malik Neighbors goes down.
Second week.
Next week, they blow a lead to the Saints and lose to
That
one
was
of the
an
worst
awful
teams in
game.
football. You can't even beat the Saints. And the Giants' schedule, it goes Eagles, Broncos, Eagles. He's not going to survive 1-7. That's just not going to happen. So, unfortunately for me, I think it's going to be Brian Daboll. And why I say unfortunate, I think Brian Daboll is an excellent OC. I think he's eventually going to get another chance to be a head coach. I go to, again, I think Joe Shane should never have kept his job after they had two top 10 picks, and both of them ended up being busts. Historically, Hall of Fame GMs in the league, they hit on 30% of their total draft. 50% of those picks of the hits have to be from the first round. You got two chances and you can't even get one of them to be a good player. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau is non existent. Evan Neal is unstartable, and they were both top 10 drafted. So, say what you want to say about the Giants. I think Brian Daboll will be the first coach fired this season.
Man, yeah, he's been on there for a while and it's not been great. But to me, for Brian Dable, I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's actually not that bad of a head coach. But like, look at the pieces he's been dealt. Yeah, he should take those pieces and go win games. But I'm gonna say it's not his fault that his general manager and owner decided to depart from Saquon and keep Daniel Jones and then get rid of Daniel Jones, and now you don't have any of those guys that the decision was about. Definitely the mistakes there. Saquon is a franchise guy. But then you get Malik Neighbors. I just feel like it's not totally his fault. And I would say this last game against the Saints, I don't think Jackson Dart was really ready. Look, he had a great first game, and the Chargers are kind of imploding because of all the injuries. It was fun to watch, but when we rush these rookie quarterbacks, sure, the first game they're good because there's no film on them in the NFL, and if they just get one or two things to go their way, they'll look pretty good. They're usually fiery, they have their legs, and then they're just different to where the defense wasn't ready for it. Second game, the Saints had his number. They watched the film on him. They looked at all his tendencies, and Jackson Dart just, when you're young, you just got to play turnover-free football. I'm gonna wrap this up real quick, Mason. I know we got stuff. Turnover-free football, like Dylan Gabriel played with the Cleveland Browns. He didn't look great. He wasn't bad. He just played turnover-free football and kept the Browns in the game against the Vikings. Jackson Dart had that terrible fumble rolling out left, just slipped out of his hand. Nobody even touched him. That will just it ruins the drive, destroys your confidence, and then you just give them one extra. Yeah, Jackson Dart. We'll see in this third week of Jackson Dart. If the defense comes out again, they just have his number. They have him locked down. They know his tendencies. You messed up again, 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 again. The Giants messed up so many times with quarterbacks. It just doesn't make any sense. I guess you'd have to fire Brian Dable. But that's all I got to say for now.
Well, My last point on this is, I thought about maybe doing videos in the off season about a coaching autopsy and look at the career tenure for fired head coach, the place he went, what went right, what went wrong. And the issue with Brian Daboll is he's going to get fired, and it's not going to be because of his fault. It's going to be because the GM that they gave him, the organizational mismanagement there. I mean, if you look at the Giants in 2025 from 2022, they have no offensive line. Their best receiver is Malik Neighbors, and he's out with a season-ending ACL injury. They have no receivers outside of it that can stretch the field vertically or be a reliable target. They're starting a rookie running back in Cam Scadaboo, who I think is a good player. I'm wrong. I was wrong. He is working in the NFL. He's doing some good things. But they're starting two rookies in the backfield. The defense, with the amount of money that's been spent in it, with the hires that he's made, he fired Wink Martindale, he hired Shane Bowen and said that was going to fix it. That's a Brian Daboll decision. They choose their coaching staffs. Well, they're playing like one of the worst defenses in football with all the supposed talent on there, and that's ultimately going to go back on the head football coach. So, for me, that's just why I think, unfortunately, the results themselves can be traced back to the decision maker. And going into year 5 with a lifetime losing record as the head coach, I just don't see him surviving.
Tough.
It's tough.
It's tough.
But anyways, guys, coming up next, we've got the franchise watchdog for the Broncos, Triston Collins, coming off a major win over the then undefeated Eagles. We're looking forward to talking to him.
And now we got with us another episode with the amazing Triston Collins, the Broncos Watchdog. Glad he's here. Triston, how you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Doing great, man. Hey, Broncos, I bet you're feeling pretty good after this week. Had the Eagles and actually upset the Eagles. Fourth quarter, about 7 minutes left, down 10-7. Bo Nix has this 65-yard drive to put it in the end zone, go for two, which was incredibly ballsy. I was screaming, go for one, just go for one, go for two and get it. Go up 18-7, 18-10, and then it's just a rough match for the rest of the game with about 6 minutes left. But Jalen Hurts threw for 38 times, 2 touchdowns, and you held him down pretty nicely. Bo Nix, a nice little 24 for 39. J.K. Dobbins, 20 carries. We're feeding him a lot. Sutton, right underneath 100. He had 99 yards. And the defense, I mean, I was watching Nick Bonito. Is he the quickest edge rusher in the NFL? And then Patrick Surtain, he's just locked down. Tristan, is there anything else I'm missing? How did you feel about that game?
Well, I mean, the first half I wasn't too happy about it with our defensive side, and I mean, Bo Nix has been kind of slow this year, but I think he's starting to get it a little bit together now because, I mean, it's starting to get a little bit closer in the middle of the season, and he's getting better. And but that first half of that game, I wasn't too happy with our defense. I didn't like how we were going, and I thought it was just going to be a blowout. But always have faith. I think around the third quarter is when Bonito and that other edge, I think it's Allen. I could be wrong. Pretty sure. Yeah, then Surtain, I think, has been playing great all year. I haven't really had any bad things to say about him, but
that's a good thing when you're a cornerback.
Yes, great thing. But that second half, they really turned up, and great coaching. I mean, that 2-point conversion really got me scared. I don't remember who it was, too. I think Franklin. I could be wrong. But I was really nervous because when they got it, I was like, let's just tie the ball game. They're like, no, we're going to go get one more. And then I'm pretty sure that to end it off, they kicked a field goal. And they had the ball. Jalen Hurts he threw a nice pass. And then I think A.J. Brown was playing defense that time because Devontae Smith just lost it. And I thought they were going to get that. I was nervous.
And
but I thought it was pretty good.
Sean Payton's such a weird play caller. Going back to what you said about going for the 2-point. I mean, a lot of people, when you watch Sean Payton call plays, watch his offenses, they seem very boring. So he has a lot of West Coast-style passing schemes. They run the football under center a ton. But he's one of the most ballsy play callers imaginable. I mean, go back to the Super Bowl halftime, kicks an onside kick against the Colts. We didn't have to. He'll go for 2 randomly, and I mean, I swear, I watch Bo Nix 3 or 4 times a game and just launch a moon ball down the field. I mean, I kind of feel like watching Broncos games, Tristan, must just have you on the edge of your seat sometimes.
It's stressful. It's so stressful. I mean, this whole season has just been stressful. I mean, we've lost 2 games that we probably shouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
One on a flag that I didn't agree with too much, and then the other just a kick. Both field goals. It's like last year.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
then
that's tough. I mean, that the Colts game, was it really leverage is what they were calling it. Tristan, I'm sorry, I'm glad it happened because I had to like parlay and I needed the Colts and I won a lot of money off of that, so appreciate it. But yeah, but then the Chargers, another tough loss. Of course, we were gonna beat the Bengals, and this Eagles one was really the big surprise. Mason, you were about to say something?
I was about to say, just like looking at the Broncos, how you started the season. I mean, real nervous, not feeling too good about it. But then, I mean, you come out there and you make a statement, dominant win against the Bengals. I mean, you practically made them quit where they didn't even try on Monday Night Football. You go out and beat what everyone would consider the best team in football. You're now 3-2. You're tied with the Chargers at the top of your division. The Chiefs, the vaunted Chiefs, they're 2-3. They look pretty mortal. The Raiders look like they suck. I mean, how do you feel about the Broncos winning the division this year?
Well, like I said earlier in one of our episodes, I'm still very confident. I'm looked at our schedule. I think we play like the Jets, the Steelers for the next 5 games. Just a bunch of teams that I'm not really too worried about. And I know the Chiefs is on there, the Texans. And
I'll say it for you.
Good.
Next week you got the Jets, all right, 0-5. Then you got the Giants, all right, and then you got the Cowboys. What are you gonna say right there?
I'm not worried about the Cowboys.
And then we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. And then we got the Houston Texans who don't have an O-line, so like this Broncos defense, we should see something happen. And then we got the Raiders, man. This looks like a good stretch for y'all to really just take the division.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically, out of all those that I'm most worried about is probably the Cowboys. But George Pickens has been going off, so I don't know. Not too stressed, but it could be a chance to bump up. And I don't really know much of the other teams in the divisions, who they're playing next or what they're doing. I'm not really too worried about the Chiefs. I mean, really
They
not.
ain't got it this year.
Chargers, I think they're playing pretty good, but
Yeah, just injuries have killed them. They don't have an offensive line, and then they're
Started before the season.
yeah, and then Amarion Hampton now is on. Like they're gonna start Vitale and Dwayne or some sort of Wayne Haskins at running back. Like they aren't gonna have a run game, and Justin Herbert's gone from who I thought was a legit MVP candidate to he's if man again, and everybody's questioning if he's good at football. And I mean,
He doesn't have an O-line.
he doesn't have an O-line, but for the Broncos, it's great because he's going to have to throw against Riley Moss in the slot and Patrick Surtain. Nick Bonito is the early Defensive Player of the Year. That contract extension they got looks great now. I mean, he's leading the league in sacks. Yeah. Like, I feel like I was so wrong on the Broncos. I'm sitting here saying they need a playmaker, they need this, they didn't do that. They've quickly, it tells you so much what competent coaching does to the NFL, Tristan. I mean, going from Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton's got to feel pretty good.
I mean, literally amazing. I think Nick Bonito is expected to get like 24 sacks this season. He already has like 7 right now. Like,
I mean,
dude,
what?
That's crazy, but I mean, just for fun, he is incredibly quick. If you haven't watched a Broncos game yet, definitely watch it and look for that. He's number 15, right? A weird edge number.
15. Yep.
But he's just the quickest guy. It looks like he knows the snap count, and he just flies off that edge. That's why he's one of the best right now, is because he's pretty much the quickest guy in the trenches, and then he just gets back there. And then, yeah, great sign by them this offseason with the Nick Bonito, Kyle Allen, and then there was one more. I don't know if it was Patrick, but it might have been somebody else. I think there's 3 defensive players, and this is good. This is what competent coaching and then good ownership does. You pay them earlier than later. If they didn't pay them and they're going to pay them next off season, and if Nick Bonito's on this stretch, they would have had to pay a whole lot more, and you would have had to let one of these guys go probably. So, Tristan, it's looking pretty good for you. I think the ending of your schedule is going to be really tough. And I have a good feeling we'll see you back here on the 27th. Mason, what else do we have?
I think it's about it, Tristan. I mean, what do you have to say for us? Week 5, into this, the Broncos Watchdawg. I mean, we're gonna see you going along all the way to the end of the year. We're gonna look back at your takes before the year, now a quarter away from the year. What do you want to say to your future self that you might want to take back?
Broncos are winning it all.
We're gonna clip that and we're gonna play that for you after they probably lose in the wild card round to Josh Allen. Anyways, Tristan. Hey,
Hey,
you're not
hey,
doing it unless you're clipped. Liam?
hey, October 27th. October 26th, we got the Cowboys Broncos. I have a good feeling Mason's going to want to have you back on here to probably make fun of you. But Tristan, if it happens to be the other way, I'll definitely invite you on so that you could make fun of Mason. That's going to be a good game.
All I'm saying is if Dak Prescott is playing like he is then and is healthy, there's not a defense in the league that's going to stop him. But I look forward to that game. I think it'll be a very good game. So,
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on, and we will see you. Looks like October 27th, Tristan.
See y'all, boys.
See you.
So now kind of going out to the AFC East, talking about this rubber match that went down in Highmark Stadium between the Bills and the Patriots. It's a really sloppy football game to start. I mean, fumbles left and right. The Bills, I think they're going to burn their whiteout jerseys and never wear them again after that game. Josh Allen looked like he just was uncomfortable, unsettled when he was running. He was a little timid. I wonder if he's nursing an injury or not, but James Cook couldn't get loose. That defense for the Patriots, Christian Gonzalez, Devon Gottschall down the middle. I mean, starting to look a little legit. But I think the story of this game is a coming out party for 2 of the Patriots rookies. Will Campbell was locked down all night on Ed Oliver, Gregory Rousseau, and Joey Bosa. It didn't matter who they threw at him. He was on an island, and it did not matter. And then Drake May made Stephon Diggs look like he was in his prime again. I mean, talk about a game, Liam.
No, that was awesome. NFL finally we had a good little. They showed a lot of the pre-game stuff going on because it was the Bills whiteout. The fans were going crazy. The whole stadium was white out. They sold those jerseys like a week ago or whatever, and everybody was wearing the brand new jersey. The towels, they had the speakers, they had everybody rocking. A minute before the game started, I was thinking the Bills are about to destroy the Patriots. It did not look good. And then the Bills stalled, and the Patriots had an all right drive, and then fumble, 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 fumble is what it felt like for that first quarter. Um, yeah, the Bills are never going to wear those whiteouts again. That was just an awful game by them. Their game to really lose. The Patriots had a great game, but I mean, the Bills were just handing it to them. Nothing could get going. Maybe more credit to the Patriots defense, but yeah, Stephon Diggs, 100 yards. It was a great return revenge game for him. He loved that. Um, Will Campbell, Mason, this was your number one guy. I think one of the first Sideline Journal posts was a in the trenches Warroom breakdown of Will Campbell and why he's the best lineman. And those are great guys he was blocking against last night. Joey Bosa, he's not his brother, but he's still really good and he's still a Bosa. Ed Oliver is one of the best interior linemen. He's up there. And so, really established himself as one of the best linemen in the NFL. I'll say that.
I don't think
Yeah,
that's
and then
crazy to say, man. I really don't watching the tape. I mean, I made that video all the way back, just trying to learn how to record stuff, and I love the way that he plays, the way he plays with leverage, with length, the way he blocks, how he uses his technique into his bull hop, because he's undersized. But what a bull hop is when you've got that forward pressure coming to you, you drop and sink your hips, you refit underneath, and you start hopping and anchoring down. That's what allows bull rushes not overtake you. And a lot of people get worried with tackles that are super tall or super short because they can't bend properly to get underneath, or if they don't have long enough arms. Doesn't matter for Will Campbell. Will Campbell's just a dog. So, just wanted to interject that.
um, No, and then Mike Vrabel looks like he knows what he's doing, which is fantastic because he was pretty good with the Titans, and then they just kind of they got rid of all their players when he didn't want them to go. and then they
Oh,
just say,
hey,
Mike Vrabel, you suck.
you're gonna suck when you replace Derrick Henry with Tajay Spears and AJ
And
Brown with
with
Traylon Burks and
yeah,
Ryan Tannehill with Will Levis. What do you think's gonna happen?
yeah, poor guy. Just chills for a little bit, comes back with the Patriots with a fantastic up and coming offense and a defense that had stars in the making, but a lot of holes. And he's putting together a really nice team, really good game plan. They got the wide receivers. Losing Antonio Gibson stinks because I think he's a really good wide receiver too. But now you open the gates for like James White. No, Mike Vrabel, we want
No,
to see
no. What do you mean?
Travion Henderson.
They're gonna go get Jonas Gray from the retirement home.
I can't stand that. Travion Henderson, every time he touches the ball, it's like, wow, this guy's really good. He's really fast. He has great vision. He can even make, with his speed, he can actually make like tacklers bounce off of him. It's insane. We should give him to him more. And then he gets like 2 touches a game. It's insane. I'm hoping to see a lot more of him this week. I know all those fantasy football um, players are really going to want him. Everybody should put him in his lineup. Uh, but we'll see on that. But Drake May looks really good, rolling out of the pocket. He looks like he's definitely an up and coming guy. And you know what they're saying? Patriots have. I hate that the Patriots are back, because I was sick of watching them in the 2000s, the 2010s, and then all that. And so, but the snow melts in May was pretty good from the Patriots fan last night, 2 nights ago.
That is a heck of a quote. The snow melts in May, and I mean, what
Yeah.
an arrival for the Patriots to say that. And I mean, just looking at the Patriots turnaround, I mean, I've seen some tweets. I don't want to claim this, but I might because I've thought it. NFL coaching turnarounds, they don't have to take a decade. They don't even have to take 5 years. They can happen in one off season. And it's if you get the right guy in the building that builds a culture and builds a team the right way and has a vision. You're seeing it happen down in Jacksonville, and now you're seeing it happen with the Patriots. Mike Vrabel, I've always said, is a top 5 NFL football coach. He won. No one's won more with less than what he did in Tennessee, and I think he's doing it again with the Patriots. I mean, there's no one on that roster that you're just gonna be wowed by, but they have young, good fundamental pieces in the right places, and he's finding ways to win football games with them. And he has Drake May with Josh McDaniel, who's top 5 OC when he's with the Patriots. Anywhere else, he's a terrible coach, but he's in New England. Thank God, we're gonna keep him there. But he's playing great defense to allow Drake May to play mistake-free football. You never see him pressing. That's where turnovers happen when a quarterback feels like they've got to press, when they're playing from a drastic behind league or not a positive game script. And the Patriots have rarely been in that situation this season, which has been to their benefit. And I just want to open the conversation up a little bit to talk about what the heck positive coaching has to do in this league. Because we saw Drake May last year have more interceptions than touchdowns. We saw the Patriots utterly rudderless, dysfunctional. People thought that, oh, well, I guess Bill Belichick really was the only reason that they were successful, and that organization does suck, and it was Tom Brady. But you go get a really good football coach in there that brings the right coaching staff in the right way, and Drake May now looks good. Then you go look at that quarterback they had that won Pro Bowl with the Mac Jones, who goes to a good coaching staff now with the 49ers, and Kyle Shanahan. And he looks like prime Tom Brady, man.
Yeah, I mean, it came up again when Mac Jones was going to the San Francisco 49ers that, hey, this is the guy Kyle Shanahan really wanted in the draft. That's who they were going for. And then they picked Trey Lance. And so I just feel like for Kyle Shanahan, he's like, finally, I can do everything that I really wanted. I can really connect with this guy. I had this game plan all written up last year, or such a long time ago. Um, yeah, and look, I just want to say all this without throwing shade to Brock Purdy because I think Brock Purdy's really good and I love his story. But Mac Jones, just with what he has, he's just kind of out there being a fantastic quarterback. And when you say that, then it's like, well, Brock Purdy really isn't that good. It's more of the system. Well, I just think Mac Jones and Kyle Shanahan, that's a big thing. We're talking about positive coaching right now. It's just they click together. And so then when you have an elite running back like Christian McCaffrey and you can just throw around NFL caliber wide receivers, Mac Jones is a good enough quarterback to where he can really play towards them. And he's he's always been pretty accurate.
Yeah.
It was just in New England, maybe his decision making because he was young. I don't know. That Pro Bowl, you snuck that in there. Let's not forget that that Pro Bowl was because like nobody else was going, I believe.
I
And
mean,
so
as a rookie though, he threw 24 touchdowns to 11 interceptions on a Patriots offense that didn't really have a lot of talent.
had no
So,
business, yeah,
I mean,
doing all that. So to to go to the 49ers now, it's a the 49ers have been consistently good in the past decade. And so they have, even though they might not have the star players right now with everybody injured, because CMC is taking the life force out of them, they still got a talented enough roster around them to where they can compete. And so if Mac Jones just plays, we said this before, turnover-free football, they'll be good.
well, and I'm just gonna say though, talking about the effects of good coaching. I mean, you can go look at some other duos around the league, like Joe Brady and Josh Allen. They've been great together. You go get Schottenheimer with Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott has now elevated his play to something that we've never seen. But then you go look at the negative coaching side of it and what's going on with the Eagles. Their two Super Bowl years, they have two play callers that are now head coaches with Jalen Hurts and that offense and make them all look like they're humming and good. You then get two play callers that have been there that have not been very good, and you can see the effect it has on players. There's so much that goes into this league that goes into coaching, and it's more than what you see happens on the field. And I think sometimes that we lose that when we talk about players because players are the ones out there, they're the ones making the big money. But if they're not put in a situation to succeed, they're not gonna succeed. It's not gonna be possible. And I think going back to what the 49ers though, talking about Brock Purdy versus Mac Jones, I think that debate's kind of stupid just because they paid Brock Purdy $53 million. It is 3 years that money's fully guaranteed. There's no way out of it. He's going to be their starting quarterback regardless. It's just nice to see for somebody that went from a first round pick, starter for a franchise, was put in a bad situation where he might be out of the league, finding his way to stay in the league. So that's all I wanted to say.
That's fair, man. That's fair. Hey, where else do we want to go with this? Let's keep it going. Is there any other games you want to hit?
Not really any games. I mean, this is kind of the deal that we always do on the show is, who, after this week, who do we think the NFL MVP is? And I mean, I think it's gotten down to really where it's two people that we're looking at, Liam.
And I'm interested to hear what you're going to say because you kind of threw this question towards me saying that. But I'm going to go again with Baker Mayfield. I mean, come on, he's just playing the best. He's playing the most valuable ball. Okay, and the NFL's not going to give it to. They're not going to give it to back to back. They're done with that. They ruined. They're ruining people's prime when they don't give the MVP to everybody. So it's not going to go back to Josh Allen. Um, so then, to me, I feel like the guy that's playing the best ball right now is not Indiana Jones because uh, game to game situations, he hasn't proven to be the most valuable player. Baker Mayfield, NFL, let's get on it. At NFL, let's start giving Baker Mayfield good PR like he did Josh Allen last year when he was throwing arm punts. All right, this guy's had like 4 game-winning drives. I mean, what are we doing? He's just balling out there without, he's also played without, his number one wide receiver, Mike Evans, and then his number two, Chris Godwin, just came back. I know Emeka is right now his one. Yes, but on the depth chart, that's where they're going to be, and so he hasn't even had a full roster. This is the most valuable player, Mason. Who else would you have?
Well, I mean, just talking about Baker, I think that's a very valid take looking at him. 'Cause, I mean, MVP, as much as it's a stat-driven deal, it's also a story-driven award. And I mean,
Yes.
the two other dudes, other than the guy that I'm going to talk about, that's comparable to Baker in stats, is Daniel Jones and Jared Goff. I think every casual NFL fan that just watches football on Sundays can sit there and say that those two quarterbacks, they're playing good football, they've played good football, but they're a product of the environment around them. They've got elite playmakers at their disposal, and that's why their stats are a little inflated. So for me, when people try to say Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, well, their stats for this, one has more passing touchdowns and one has slightly more passing yards than Baker, so they should be the MVP then. They haven't led fourth quarter or overtime game-winning drives. They haven't had to play games without their number one and number two wide receiver, their number one and number two starting offensive lineman. And you can just watch the game and see that Baker Mayfield is elevating his team. He's not being pulled by his team. So I think it's a very fair take to say through 5 weeks, Baker Mayfield's probably the MVP. For argument's sake, and also just because of the fandom in me that I have been watching Cowboys games since I was 5 years old. I have never watched a Cowboys quarterback as much as I love Tony Romo and as much as I've not liked Dak Prescott at times. I've never seen a quarterback play better football than what's going on in Dallas right now, week 5 with Dak Prescott. There is a literal, if you want it in team graph form of why Dak Prescott wants to be the MVP, it's a viral one Brett Coleman had. It's a graph of offensive EPA and defensive EPA, efficient plays adjusted for offense and defense. It has teams of where all the way in the top in both metrics. You've got the Lions, you've got the Colts, middle of the pack, you got the Eagles, you got the Vikings. But then there's this one real team to the right and to the bottom, and I'm going to throw it up. You're literally in live time watching the Cowboys have the best offense in football with also the worst defense in football. I'm just saying, watching Dak Prescott have the most efficient offense in football, do it against a team where he did not have one starting offensive lineman on the field and his number one receiver is out with the worst defense. And it just, to me, is screaming MVP because of his 3 picks, one of them should not have been called a pick. It was on the ground. They didn't review it, and one bounced off his receiver's hands. So you're looking at a dude that has 11 touchdowns to 1 picks, 1,200 yards, and over 71% completion percentage. I'm just saying, to me, I think that these are the 2 guys. If one or the other, they play like this the entire season. If Baker Mayfield wins it over Dak Prescott, I'm happy. If Dak wins it over Baker, I'm obviously happy. I just think that they've elevated themselves to a level that no one's touching right now.
Yeah, in the NBA community, they call it ethical hooping right now. All right, ethical hooping. I can't say that. Jalen Hurts is unethical. All right, it's his time to throw with offensive EPA. It's awful. What he's doing with the time to throw is unheard of, atrocious. All right, and with Jalen Hurts throwing almost 40 passing attempts and losing a game, they're never going to let him throw over 20 passes again. I can't believe a team that won 18 straight games had their number 1 and number 2 wide receiver complaining about wanting to be traded.
Yeah.
Sorry. But MVP, Dak Prescott is the most ethical with it. His average, he's average with time to throw, maybe even a little to the left, but his EPA the EPA is off the charts for how they're, CeeDee Lamb's been out. Nobody thought Javonte Williams could do anything. They haven't had an offensive line. So, yeah, Dak Prescott is just playing phenomenal ball. He's the only, I would say, Mason, he is the biggest and the only reason why the Cowboys are going to have a chance at the season. Because remove Dak from it and replace it with somebody else. They're Joe Milton. Could you imagine that? And what if they got somebody else? But with how bad their defense is playing, to the weapons that they have right now, I would say Dak is the only reason that they're going to be pulling off some of these games in the middle of the season, Mason. So, yeah, Dak is incredibly valuable, but I think Baker has those moments where you could say, yes, this is why I'm putting Baker a teensy bit over Dak Prescott.
I don't hate it at all. The last thing I just want to say on the Dak discussion is there's a stat that came out that made me really jump in my seat, because when you think Cowboys, you think of the triplets in the 90s with Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith. They're all Hall of Famers. Well, this just happened for the first time in Cowboys history against the Jets in MetLife Stadium on Week 5. Ryan Flournoy and Javonte Williams is the only time it's ever happened that there's a 100-yard receiver and a 100-yard rusher before halftime. Not Hall of Fame Michael Irvin, not Hall of Fame Emmitt Smith, Javonte Williams, and Ryan Flournoy. I didn't know who Ryan Flournoy was until the preseason when he was getting wide receiver 3 reps over Turpin and Tolbert. I'm just saying, I think
third on the depth chart.
He is now. He wasn't, but he is now. So it doesn't matter.
That's hilarious.
So I don't know. I just think those two dudes, they're having to do stuff that no one else is doing with the football. And every week that we talk about this, I've had a comment or someone say, you're talking about MVP too early. Well, you got to start the discussion now because this is around the time that people frame the narrative of who it's going to be. And I don't want, because what also I think makes it great about these two guys, the NFL's not going to want to give them the award. It's not a darling like Josh Allen. It's not Lamar Jackson. It's not Joe Burrow. It's not Mahomes. It's not
one of the young guys.
Matthew Stafford in LA. It's not one of the young guys. They're both guys that have gotten a lot of flack, a lot of hatred in their careers. They've been in controversial situations, but for me, I think that they have been the people's quarterbacks. Cowboys fans, you either love or hate Dak Prescott and Baker Mayfield. You either love or hate them as a fan. And I think that it would be great for the league, great for the NFL fandom, if those are the two that are leading the MVP race.
Hey, you said it best right there, man.
Yeah, so I guess we'll leave this week there, but I mean, like, kind of going towards next week, Liam, you got any games that you're looking at?
Of course, I'm always looking at the Packers as we try to take on Joe Flacco again with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to be...
I saw a tweet that I wanted to send to you. I'll just read it to you. Watching Joe Flacco beat my team twice in the year 2025 would be my 13th reason. How do you feel about that?
Over dinner, I was talking to my dad real briefly about this situation. And is there a stat? Has this ever happened where non-divisional, like non-conference division game, has anybody ever played the same quarterback twice in 3 weeks? Yeah, maybe that's been a thing. Doesn't happen always, but in division rivalries, you'll play the same team twice in 3 weeks. But on different teams, non-division would be wild. And if we lose to him when the Cincinnati Bengals, Mason, I think I would cry. That would make me regret so many things about why did I have to be born in Green Bay, Wisconsin to be a Packer fan, to watch Joe Flacco in 2025 beat us twice with awful teams when this is our year.
It'd be wild.
We didn't even get a sack on him with the Browns. So if we don't get a sack with this O-line and Joe Flacco, but hey, I also have Jamar Chase in fantasy, so this is going to be a tough week for me. But games this week, I think we got a heater at the noon. Seahawks Jaguars. I think that's going to be a fantastic game. That's the first one I'm looking at right off the top. I think this week, last week I said they're going to suck. This week, I'm saying they're going to be good, so it's probably going to suck. But that Jaguar-Seahawks game is going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, the game that I'm looking at that I think will be hilarious to watch, and I mean, it's the ultimate toilet bowl, the Titans versus the Raiders. Both teams are 1-4. Both have not looked very good. Both have had really bad offenses. That sometimes makes for a really fun game. But on a serious note, a touchstone game that I'm looking at that makes me really curious for the team's futures is the Cardinals versus the Colts. Jonathan Gannon coached as a coordinator with Shane Steichen in the Super Bowl run for the Eagles in 2022. They know each other very intimately. Jonathan Gannon and the Cardinals are 2-3 now. He just got fined $100,000 for his comments with Amari DiMercado. They go 2-4. What happens? Are we looking at him being fired? But the Colts, they're 4-1. They're flying high. What if the Cardinals find a way to win that game and the Colts are 4-2? Does it change our opinion on them? I think that'll be a very interesting game to watch and see what happens.
Yeah, and then we got the nightcap on Sunday. Lions, and guess what? We get to watch Patrick Mahomes again in primetime. Lions Chiefs Sunday night, and then I don't know why the NFL is still doing 2 Monday night games. Can we spread it out? I'm not gonna watch both of them at the same time. I can't. So can we please just change that already? But Bills Falcons should be pretty good. The Falcons should be good. We'll see about that. The Bills have to come back from after that terrible loss to the Patriots, and then we got Bears Commanders. Great game last year. It shut down the Bears and really launched the Commanders into the stratosphere. So we'll see. Bears are going to really want revenge, and the Commanders a little beat up right now. Let's see if they can keep that momentum going.
Yeah, those are all going to be really fun games to watch. And I mean, you always love to see storylines get crafted in the leagues. You're going into week 6. Every week there's someone playing for something, and this is around that critical pressure point. week 6, week 7, week 8, where week 9 is the trade deadline. You're going to start seeing trades happen. You might see some coaching firings. I mean, Joe Flacco was just traded Odafe Owe from the Ravens to the Chargers. So you're going to start seeing some major stuff happening, and I hope you guys come and tune in every week as we talk about what happened, what went down, because I do think between me and Liam and some of the franchise watchdogs, we might have a nugget or something that you aren't hearing out there. Because, I mean, who would have known that back in April that the guy across from me would call out the team that would be the worst team in the league, and then I would call out the best rookie offensive lineman in football? Don't know. I know the legacy media wouldn't, because they never want to talk or approach about subjects like that. Anyways, I'm going to stop rambling. We really appreciate the support and the viewership, and we will see you in the next episode. Peace out.
See you.
We hope you enjoyed the latest episode of the Warroom podcast presented by the Sideline Journal. If you haven't yet, consider subscribing over into the left and click that box and check out some of our other takes from previous episodes. And if you want to catch a full-length podcast, make sure we know what we're talking about. We're not just BSing you. Click that full podcast link to see our takes everywhere from where we projected you guys get to draft all the way to where now the Miami Dolphins are the worst team in football. Anyways, we really enjoyed making this. We hope you consider riding with us and consider sticking around. We'll see you next week. Peace out.